It's been 15 hours. Let's see what we've got. Looks like our epoxy is, focus there, set up well. Nice and hard. What, this stuff always has the neatest texture. It is so hard. Here's you can kind of see there. Let's pull it off the stick there. It actually, just to give you an idea of what the texture is like if you haven't used it before. Are you going to focus? Come on. Come on. There we go. All right, nothing but the best here. Look how hard that is. You can actually cut it, shave it. But it does remain, somewhat pliable. It's just interesting stuff. All right, so here on the other side. Now, one issue right there, so, of course we had the crack right there. We've got a little bit of a ridge. I can just feel it with my thumbnail. Let's take let's take and just hit that and polish that off a little bit, and I think that'll seal up just fine. You might notice that there's a fair bit of corrosion on here with we got a seal. This is a seat. This O-ring's got a seal in there, and we don't want to have all that corrosion. So we'll take a minute and knock that off there. That's interesting to see that. Why is that all that aluminum so corroded? Well, aluminum corrodes kind of by nature. It's soft. But what I'm thinking is, before, maybe another thing to add on to the winterization of this is to get some oil in here to kind of, as it sits through the winter, to kind of prevent that, protect that, prevent that from happening. It may have just been because it got stored with water in it. And what I see here is we should make sure that it never has water in it, that we drain that out there before every use. Look at what Honda's done here. We're talking about quality. Look at this. Cast iron, impeller, and impeller housing. How about that for quality? I've seen a lot of lesser pumps that use use aluminum in there. What do you think happens with an aluminum impeller and an aluminum housing when you get maybe some debris or a rock sucked up in there? You know what happens is it gets damaged. But that's a good way to do it. That's very, very durable. It's the proper way to do it. But I'm going to pull this off because, well, I want to take a look at it for one thing. See what's in there. There we go. What did I tell you about the panel tool? Take a look at what's in there, but also, nice. Boy, good quality. There's your impeller. That's how it works. So the water comes in right there. And then as this spins, centrifugal force throws that water out, like spinning. If you got a tennis ball, get it wet, spin it, how all the water will fly off of it in all directions the way it spins. That's what it does right there. That's how the pump works. It forces that out of there. It'd be very durable. But see, we've got that housing right there where that O-ring is going to go up against. We got all that corrosion on there. So I couldn't get to without taking that off there, we can't get to the bottom of it there, where we need to get to, because we want a good seal on there. So we'll clean that up. So with that cleaned up, here you can see the back side of the impeller housing, how that throws that water out. Pretty clever, isn't it? It's a pretty good sized O-ring there. So I'll just take a little bit of oil, whatever you have. Just, most O-rings, unless they're something really specific, are going to be able to handle a little bit of petroleum on them. I mean, you don't want to use it with things like oxygen lines or anything that produces air for breathing, obviously, like that, or some of the auto body stuff. But for most industrial applications, a little slippery oil, it just keeps it from tearing and helps it to seal a little bit. I don't know, maybe it even nourishes a little bit. I think I've maybe heard that. That's a lot nicer there, isn't that? No, we know we got gonna have a good seal there. Same thing with the big one. Well, just a little oil on your fingers and just going around it, putting oil on it. It does a couple things. It lubricates it so it goes in, but also you go through and you can feel with your hands. Your sense of touch is very sensitive. I'm not focusing there. Get my hands in it. very sensitive, and you can feel the most minute imperfection or nick or tear, anything like that. That's why, auto body, you ever looking to buy a used car, rub your hand, take your hand over the whole thing. You can feel things that you can't see. And boy, one good practice is if you're thinking about buying a used car and you want to find any little hidden foibles or anything, just wash it. Every used car I've ever bought, I look at it. Never buy a car in the rain at night. That's the worst time because that hides everything. Maybe that's the best time to sell one. But if you wash it, it seems like when you get it home, that's when you find out, oh, I didn't see that, or I didn't realize this had been repaired. But all right, that looks good. I can feel that it's in good shape. No damage. No need to replace an O-ring unless it's really old or it's got damage. They're pretty resilient. So we'll put our cast iron impeller housing back on. Only go one way, pretty idiot proof. So when you have an O-ring that has a chance of jumping out of its home there, one thing you can do is use a good grease. Like this is a Bel-Ray. This is my favorite, Bel-Ray grease. And what you can do is you can put that grease, on here in a couple spots, but better yet is to coat your O-ring with it. Give it a liberal amount. Liberal. And what that will do is it just gives you a kind of just a sticky surface on there. This was looking like it wasn't wanting to fit. And sometimes you got to put these O-rings on and you can't really see what's going on. You get in tight spots. And if that O-ring is to slip out and get pinched and damaged, well, you can have all sorts of trouble, especially if it's something that you have to take a lot of things to get to. But that. Oh, I nearly forgot. I'm going to use thread locker on this too. I want to show you something here. So the good folks at Loctite, it's a funny story. So it's probably been a year ago or so. I did a video and I was using some red Loctite, and I bought the stuff. I'd got the Harbor Freight brand, the cheap stuff. And I think I said in the video, in my ignorance, the Loctite brand's too expensive. And so I just used the Harbor Freight brand. Well, Loctite took issue with that and said that their stuff was indeed better. And they actually sent me reams of paperwork showing the difference. And I want to thank them for that, because they sent me this really nice Plano tackle box, Plano, Texas. Yeah, I used to use their fishing tackle boxes. They sent me this nice box full of all their products and all of the spec sheets and everything, how to use it. So that was pretty cool. So I never have really thanked Loctite for that, but this little toolbox has been so nice. I have really, really liked this stuff. The quick tight stuff, I use it on my cameras. No, it's neat stuff. So they also make this is something I've also used. I like this stuff. Actually, I like this stuff better. I didn't realize it was in the case there. It's like lipstick for man. Man, how about that? That's a manly lipstick right there. But it's just on a stick, and you can kind of rub the threads through it. That coat's really nice like that. This is a pretty good way to go. Actually, I kind of prefer this because it seems to be just less messy, when you're working on stuff that you don't want to get Loctite dripped on. That's kind of nice. But the blue is all right too. The blue is, you can see here, it's pretty thin stuff. That's all you need though. You don't need very much. A little bit will do you. Two things left. Okay, we got the flapper valve in there. Now this is the water coming in from the tank. And so we'll rotate this around here. Be careful with the rubber fittings. Let's Loctite these two. Lots of vibration in these little engines. They'll come loose on you. And boy, you don't want that to happen on a fire pump. But that's the job of an engineer. And as an engineer with the fire department, that's what I do. That's what I did when I was a career firefighter in Colorado. You got to know how your equipment runs, and you got to know when it's operating properly. And one thing you're doing when you're on a fire, it's a pretty complex job, because it's, you're making sure you're getting water to your firefighters, but you're also keeping an eye on your machinery. Make sure that you're not cavitating pumps and things aren't running hot and oil pressures are right. And it's a lot of stuff to keep track of. So a good portion of my life I spent, you know, out of high school, I spent running heavy equipment, mostly rubber tire backhoes and excavators and dozers, lots of excavators. And one thing that was, and I had my own business, had my own equipment. I've had my own equipment a couple times. One thing that you quickly find out when talking about equipment and operators is that if you take a piece of equipment, you buy a brand new excavator. Let's say you buy a new Hitachi EX120, right? 27,000 pound machine. And you put, you have a guy working for you and you give him that machine to basically to be his own, to have and to hold and to take care of. Not literally, but to use every day, that's his machine. He fuels it, he greases it, he looks after it. What you'll typically find out is that machine, you'll be able to get a lot of hours out of it without a lot of problem. I mean, it's not uncommon at all. 7,000, even 8,000 hours without any really major issues. But you take that same machine and you put a different operator in it. Let's say you have a company and you've got, you know, a dozen guys working for you, and that guys all bounce around and you put them with different machines and they're in something different all the time. What you'll find out that after 3,000, 3,500 hours, that machine it's had it. It's just beat up. And the reason for that is if a man sits in a machine, the same thing every day, you become accustomed to it. And you know its idiosyncrasies, and you know the noises and the sounds and the shudders and the vibrations that it make. And as soon as something's amiss or something is off, you pick right up on that and you know it. And you can make sure that repair is made before it takes out something major, before it becomes catastrophic. Where when you have a person in a different machine all the time, as those little issues develop, well, they compound, they get worse and worse, and because you're not used to it and you're not really familiar with it, you don't know, and then pretty soon, you know, something major is taken out, an engine, hydraulic pump. I've seen it a lot, so it makes a huge difference. So if you ever buy a machine, used machine, make sure you had a one owner operator. Man, isn't this fun? I've always enjoyed working on small engines. I really enjoy it. They're typically easy to work on. You don't have to have a ton of tools, and how satisfying is it to my Loctite on there? How satisfying is it to be able to repair something? Good grief, metric, come on. 12 millimeter? How many wrenches do I have to get out here? Delay that gratification to try it out. Put your tools away. Put your tools away before anything. Man, it's incredible to me. It never ceases to amaze me. You drag out your tools for 2 or 3 projects and think, oh, I'll put them away later, and you keep saying, I'll put them away later, put them away later, and pretty soon you want to go in your shop and work, and it looks like the bomb went off inside. You say, you know, we always blame our kids for making a big mess. I'll tell you, nothing compares to a man and his tools. This shelving over here is where I keep all oils and filters and everything all in one spot. And somebody asked how I was going to put that skid unit back in my truck. I have no idea. So we're ready for the pump test. Time to fill up the tank. To do our pressure test, we're going to need some fire hose. Where am I going to get some fire hose? Yeah, we got 1 or 2 rolls around here to use. Now, if you're really good, you can take a 100-foot stick of fire hose and throw it out and completely unwind it in one toss. I don't know that I want to do this on camera, but I'll try. Let's see what we can do. If this is an Olympic sport, I'd have a medal. Moment of truth. You think that JB weld's gonna hold? I sure hope it does. we're going to need a nozzle. This is some of my forestry stuff here. Look at this, solid brass. Look at those guys. You can't buy shutouts like that at Home Depot. That's Forest Service goodness right there. Solid brass, everything's such good quality. Adapters, this is my mop-up kit for doing mop-up. Wands, this is called, we call it toy hose. It's just regular garden hose thread variety, but single jacketed. It's really light, it's really good for light work. That's a drip torch right there. It's for starting doing burnouts. Box of fusees, and these are my appliances. We'll probably just go with a cheap water waster here for now. This is a forestry nozzle. Look at that. These are really cool. You get a fog stream there, focus, or a straight stream by turning this nozzle right there. I wish the Forest Service would go with quarter turn fittings. They're so fast, and then you don't have to orient your hose, male, female. You can do it any way you want. It'll work. They're ambidextrous. They work both ends. So how a quarter turn fitting works is you just put this on here like this, and it do a quarter of a turn, and there you have it. Every fitting has it, so everything fits. There's never any need for reducers or anything. It's just such a no-brainer, but tradition dies hard with the Forest Service. Choke on. There you have it, as good as new. So what did we learn in this series? Well, we learned that fire pumps are cool, that JB Weld is amazing, and that I can take a simple task and turn it into way too many videos. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Good morning. Man, I'm excited to have that repaired. That's something that was bothering me the last couple days, but I ran it up hard against the head, and it seems to be holding just fine. I don't see any visible leaks, and it was holding 60 pounds for a good, probably 20 minutes or so. So cross our fingers, and we'll certainly hope for the best. If we have a problem, well, we'll readdress it then. So I want to take a minute to remind you to, if you enjoy these videos, to click the thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, I invite you to do that. And comment. We always enjoy the comments. It kind of keeps us motivated, keeps us going, and it really helps the channel. It shows engagement. These, so interesting. I hear from so many people that have enjoyed the longer videos and have told me that they have basically pulled the plug on their cable or satellite, and they're coming to YouTube now for their entertainment. Families are coming together and sitting down and watching the videos, and that's really exciting to me because it's very similar to what we do as well. So if you enjoy this type of content, you need to support it. And by supporting it, what I mean by that is by subscribing and liking and commenting. And that's what provides or gives us the ability to continue to provide it. Because when videos show lots of subscriber participation, they rank higher in search results, and they rank higher in the suggested videos, and so we get more people get the opportunity to see it, and on and on and on. So I
that's why I'm always asking for you guys to participate in that way. So what's coming up? What's coming up? We've been thinking about a couple different things. So we've been thinking about maybe a couple of adventures, maybe 2 adventures. The first is we're thinking about climbing Mount Fuji. And I think Mrs. W and I could probably do it in one day, probably a good 12, 14-hour day. But with Jack, might be a little bit too much. So we're kind of laying the groundwork and thinking about maybe breaking up into 2 days and have kind of a spike camp halfway up. So that's something we're considering. The other thing is a 4-day whitewater river drift, where we take all of our tents and packs, and I think it's a 3-night, 4-day drift through some of the most beautiful wilderness you'll ever see in your life. So that's something we're also considering, but just not sure on that. All right, well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.